parents should be rightfully upset, and especially to what Donald Trump picked as his Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. And it just goes to further show when Brett Kavanaugh turns down a man who lost his daughter. Now, during a Senate confirmation hearing on Tuesday, Kavanaugh was being plastered with all sorts of protests, all sorts of questions, all sorts of hate. And it seems like this guy has got nerves of steel, because he didn't break sweat from any of those guys. But what really caught our attention was a guy named Fred Guttenberg. I know it sounds German, but bear with me on this one. So now, who is Fred Guttenberg? Well, Fred is actually the father of a 14-year-old girl who was murdered during the Valentine's Day massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Of course, that guy, the 19-year-old who should not have had a gun in the first place, had gone shot up several people. Let me make sure I got my facts straight. Which 17 people were killed by a guy named Nikolas Cruz, a 19-year-old who should not have had a gun in the first place, as well as 17 other injured. And yes, Fred Guttenberg's daughter was one of the victims. Now, when Fred Guttenberg came up to Brett Kavanaugh and offered his hand to acknowledge himself, Brett Kavanaugh did this little look and said, just walk away. He did not acknowledge Fred Guttenberg. He instead walked away from a guy who wanted to get some answers about why his daughter's, what he does to protect his own children, or, well, basically what it is, he wants to know from one father to another, do you even care about your children? And when Brett Kavanaugh turned away and back, that spoke volumes. He didn't have to say a word. It spoke volumes about Brett Kavanaugh. And what Brett Kavanaugh did was be a coward. And this is what Donald Trump acknowledged. He doesn't want a person to acknowledge anyone but the money that he's getting from the NRA. And the NRA did give him an A+ in their rating system. The NRA could care less about the people who don't have guns or don't support guns, because then they get automatic Fs. I'm getting an automatic F from the NRA right now, and which is completely stupid for this to happen. You're turning me away because I don't have a gun. That is completely obnoxious and retarded. And Donald Trump calls Jeff Sessions retarded Southerner. Yeah, you can see where this is going. I'm not saying doing this as a double standard. I'm just saying what my opinion of retarded is and what his opinion of retarded is. In fact, he doesn't even know what the word provocation means. Or not provocation, provocative means. Because he keeps repeating it as if it was a good thing. Now, the White House said that, well, the man, Fred Guttenberg, approached him, and he was rightfully, detained and brought out of the hall, when in fact we saw the video in which there wasn't anyone who came nearby. Instead, Kavanaugh walked away, and that was it. There was no video seeing him being escorted out. If there is, post it in the link below. I'll take a look at it. I'll see for myself. But in the meantime, we've seen what Brett Kavanaugh is. A complete coward. And he's supposed to be the Supreme Court nominee. And now we know why the Republican Party did not want Merrick Rowland, which was Obama's Supreme Court nominee pick. Because they'd rather have a coward than someone who is among their party. Yes, Merrick Garland was a Republican, but he's a much better choice for Supreme Court nominee than, say, Brett Kavanaugh, who doesn't know how to confront people. Let that sink in.